What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update. We've got some injury updates and some transfer speculation to get through today. So let's get straight into it, starting with the Micky van de Ven injury update from Paul O'Keefe. He says current expectation is that Micky van de Ven's absence through injury should not be a lengthy one. The hope is that he'll only miss Tottenham's game against Fulham and be back after the international break. So that international break coming at a good time for Micky.
Yeah, it's really great news. Obviously, I think Matt Law said earlier in the day that he had the scan today and Spurs should learn officially the extent like in the next 24 hours. But obviously, Paul O'Keefe usually has the inside track on these things. So it's really positive if that is the case, because obviously when he's hobbled off just after half time, it was a weird one because in the Villa game, I don't know if you saw on TV, but Dragusin was doing a warm-up at half-time, like by himself.
No, I didn't see that.
So he was like doing like an extensive warm-up by himself. So I was wondering, okay, what's going on? Is he ready to come on? And obviously Van de Ven comes out for the second half and then he comes off like very quickly after.
Maybe he felt something before the break.
But if that was the case, why not take him off straight away? It's a bit of a strange one. So I do wonder whether they were preparing for something to happen on that case. But anyway, Dragusin obviously came on and did really well. So look, Dragusin's going to have his first start, it looks like, against Fulham this weekend, and I'm excited for him because I thought he did really well against Aston Villa, and I've got no worries about him missing this game, although Fulham's a really, really important game now after that win against Villa. And I'm just happy that Van de Ven isn't going to be out for too long. Let's hope the official news tomorrow confirms it. But it is a slight worry that he's now, that's what, his second hamstring injury potentially. If it is a hamstring, that is, it did look like a hamstring. So that is a slight worry, but if it is only a minor thing, if he is back after international break, then nothing too much to worry about.
Look, 100% it's a worry, but isn't it just so nice? Like, if you look back to when Van de Ven got injured in that Chelsea game and we were all just like going absolutely mad, like, who's going to play? Dyer's back in, Davis. And like now we've got Dragusin there. It's just like we're all a bit more calmer about the situation.
Yeah, I think it's nothing to panic or worry about because thankfully we saw Dragusin for a prolonged period on the weekend and he performed very, very well. Not only did he perform well, but he just looked very confident and assured that he just slotted right in. There were no nervy moments really from him during the game, and he looked confident enough to like play some passes forward. He wasn't just keeping it safe as well, which was really great. So I'll be interested to see how he performs when he starts a game, but yeah, really it's a chance for him to show what he's able to do.
Absolutely. And on Dragusin, his agent Florent Manea has been talking, and he says they have a well laid out plan for him. Obviously he's talking about Tottenham. He had to wait his turn and help the team. It was natural because the two centre backs play very well together and it's hard to take them out. From one point of view, it wasn't normal to take them out. I was talking to someone at the club and he told me that he's training exceptionally well. You can't blame him. Training is like a match for Radu. That's what we've been aiming for years. The way you train is the way you play. And like you said before, he's going to get his big break now.
Yeah, and I think it's important for him like to not have gotten too impatient, which it seems is the case, because with Van de Ven and Romero there, as his agent has pointed out, it was always going to be very difficult to kind of displace one of those, two of the best centre-backs on current form in the Premier League. One World Cup winner and one in Van de Ven who's been one of the stars of the Premier League in centre-back. So it was never going to be the case if they were fit, he was going to just come straight in. But I'm glad that he's understood that and he hasn't thrown his toys out the pram. And when he has gotten his chance, he did on the weekend, showed what he's capable of. And look, I'm excited about him because clearly this guy has got a lot of potential. I think he's a proper unit, isn't he? Even at 21, you wouldn't want to be facing him if you're an opposition striker. So I'm glad those are the kind of noises coming out from his agent.
And what's interesting as well, when you think about it, and when he's maybe looking back at the move in hindsight, you look at Eric Dyer's move to Bayern Munich, and he's had a lot of game time, right? So that would assume that Radu Dragusin would probably have had much more game time at Bayern Munich than he's had at Tottenham at this stage.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is a point, and maybe I don't know if he's regretting it. I mean, it's only in the short term, maybe you could argue he would have had more game time at Bayern Munich. But I think at Tottenham it's a happier camp as well. You know, you look at what things are happening at Bayern. Tuchel's on his way out. Is that the environment you want to develop in, where people are unhappy? There's factions in the camp and stuff like that. It's already confirmed that Tuchel's leaving. Where at Tottenham there seems to be a long-term vision and a plan and a set way of playing. And for a young player like Dragusin, that's probably going to be a better place to develop.
No, I'm not. I don't think that he's having regrets or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that he would have had more minutes at Bayern Munich, but he seems very happy with his decision and very happy at Tottenham. And that just shows in the direction that Tottenham are going in. Let's talk about some potential transfer news now. And this is not really transfer news, but you can take of this what you will. This is on Eberechi Eze. Tom Unna of The Athletic said that it was interesting to me that Eze and his entourage basically had a full box to themselves at Tottenham last week. I don't know if that's entirely normal for an opposition player to have a whole suite of their friends and family and presumably a couple of agents. I know Eze belongs to Base, who are an agency that are very well connected with Spurs, but I did wonder if there was a bit of wooing going on there. I wonder if they gave Eze and his pack a very nice day out at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in anticipation for something in the summer.
Well, keep your eye on that one.
We did bring to light, the Sonny and players going up to Eze and being Maddison as well, being really friendly with him and giving him big hugs and stuff like that after the game. Are we just putting 2 and 2 together and making 100, or is there something to this?
Maybe. Who knows? I think there's definitely interest. Who wouldn't be interested in a player like Eze? I'm sure Tottenham, knowing he's a homegrown player, he's a player who would fit right in with how we want to play. He's such an exciting talent as well. I'm a massive fan of Eberechi Eze. I think he'd be brilliant for Tottenham. Obviously, he would be probably fairly expensive, but I think he would be a top signing. There's a lot of reported interest from teams like Man City, I think, in the summer. So clearly he's going to be in demand. But I wonder if it was Maddison's box they were using for his entourage, and I don't know if it's normal or not for opposition players to have that kind of access in away games, but there definitely did seem something in the air after the game between the players, coming up to Eze and speaking to him and being very chummy with him, and he put in a great performance. Obviously, he scored a brilliant goal on the day as well, and if that was a kind of audition to try and convince Tottenham that he should be a player they're looking at, I think he did extremely well. So I don't think you can read too much into it at this stage, but I think it is something to keep an eye on.
I don't think it would have been Maddison's box, because we saw Maddison doing that interview after the game, and I saw other interviews with him saying his box was, he was actually speaking about it, and he said his box was full of his family and friends, and this article says that they had a full box to themselves. So I doubt it was Maddison's box.
Well, there you go then.
Another transfer report is from Ryan Taylor Sport, and he says that Tottenham are considering a summer move for winger Nico Williams. I mean, we've spoken a lot about Nico Williams in the past. He's having a great season for Athletic Club Bilbao this season. He seems to be going from strength to strength.
Yeah, and he's one that we've spoken a lot about on this channel. Obviously 21 years of age, I believe now. Really starting to explode in La Liga, and I think he's exactly the type of winger that Spurs should be looking at to really take the team and take the philosophy to like another level, because at the moment I know they're in good form at the moment. Werner, Johnson, Kulusevski obviously all had a brilliant game against Aston Villa, but we've seen throughout the season how many times that their lack of ability to consistently take on their defender and create opportunities that way has led to Tottenham dropping points in certain games. So if we had a winger like Nico Williams on a consistent basis who is just so drilled and so good at taking on his man, it's one of his biggest strengths, I think that would go a long way to really elevating this Spurs side. So I'm glad those links are there. I really hope they're serious links, and I really hope he's the type of player we are after in the summer.
Yeah, I don't think this last game changes my mind at all about the need for top quality wingers to come in the summer. I don't think we need a number 9. I think our number 9 position is pretty set for next season when you're looking at Heung-min Son, maybe to fully transition into a full number 9. You're looking at Richarlison there, looking at potentially Alejo Veliz to come back as well. I don't think there really is a need for a number 9, but I do think there is a massive need for 2 out-and-out wingers, one-on-one demons to come here for next season. And Nico Williams, if we could get him, he should be up there at the top of the priorities with the skill set that he does have. But I would say with Nico Williams, does he come with his brother? Because they've got some crazy link up on the pitch. I don't know if you've seen in recent weeks. They just seem to be assisting each other every week.
I'm sure they got that telepathic relationship, which is lovely to see on the pitch. I don't know if I think Inaki Williams has always been a decent player, but I don't know if he's good enough to be in the team. But maybe if they're gonna have that link up, maybe Inaki is a backup striker. Yeah. Could be worse.
Let's talk about Andrea Cambiaso now, as Numero 10, a I think they're a Spanish or an Italian publication, say that Postecoglou wants to sign a new left back to elevate his Tottenham squad and further to give competition to Destiny Udogie next season. The club have had previously had approach for Cambiaso from Juventus, rejected last summer, and could potentially go in again this summer. I know, Spurs should most definitely be looking for a left back, potentially a right back as well, but that's a whole different kettle of fish. Would Cambiaso be a good option for you?
He's an interesting one. Obviously, I'm sure Fabio knows him well with his time at Juventus. I believe he was at Genoa, and he had a really good season at Genoa, and Juventus signed him for about 12 million. Then he went on loan to Bologna last season, had a really good loan spell there, and now he's starting pretty much fairly regularly, or I think he's played over 20 games this season for Juventus. A really technically gifted left back, but I think 23 years of age now. So he definitely 24 years of age. So he definitely would be one on my list. The question marks would be, I don't know how much he would cost. I'm considering, let's say, if Juventus signed him for 12 million 2 years ago, first of all, he's starting for them, so would they want to let him go? Is he going to want to come to Tottenham and battle out with Destiny Udogie? But then we want that kind of quality in the squad, if we're going to have Champions League football potentially next season. If we have someone like Udogie and Cambiaso rotating, that would be really, really encouraging. But it's only his first year, kind of playing week in, week out for Juve. So whether he's ready to leave just after a year, or if they're desperate to let him go, I don't know. We might have to pay quite above the market rate to get him, and I don't know if we want to do that.
It says here, 12.5 million, but he would have a lot of familiar faces and friends here in terms of the players that he's come across in Italy before. Haven't we had players that played for Genoa? Have we not? Dragusin, and he was also part of the Juventus Genoa kind of situation as well. But I don't know if they've crossed paths.
For a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, Romero as well. So I don't know if they've ever crossed paths or been in the same camp before, Cambiaso or any of our Italian players. But I'm sure he'll see some friendly faces from the Italian under-21s and stuff.
But Juventus, I know there are teams, in Italy. The Italian league's not exactly doing great for money at the moment. So maybe you could argue if Spurs want to throw their financial muscle around a bit, then maybe they could get a deal done. But for me, it doesn't seem like he's at a very big club in Juventus, right? So unless it's a situation where they want the money rather than him, and they're prepared to let him go, and then he's also at a big club, and he's playing quite well at the moment. He's starting, but he also says, "Okay, I'm actually ready to leave only after a year." There's quite a lot of moving parts to that kind of deal. It seems.
Yeah, it is. He's got a market value on transfer market of 25 million. Do you think a bid of that kind of value could sway Juventus?
I think it would have to be more.
You reckon more than that?
Yeah.
It might be an offer that they can't refuse, though, depending on their financial situation.
Potentially, yeah, depending on who else they get rid of and stuff like that.
Tottenham's search for a goalkeeper is underway, it seems, for the summer as well. As Estadio Deportivo say that Tottenham are a potential destination for Georgi Mamardashvili this summer. The goalkeeper is expected to depart, and Valencia have already begun searching for a replacement. Obviously, we brought in Big Vic this summer, and he's been a revelation in terms of how good he's been for us this season, potentially even the best goalkeeper in the Premier League in form. Do you feel like we could be pushing the button on someone like this, or we're going to be looking for an older freebie kind of thing to come in?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be spending big money on a backup keeper. I know Arsenal, that's what Arsenal did.
It's different case,
with Raya and Ramsdale, but yeah, they weren't exactly happy with Ramsdale, and they wanted to upgrade him. Mamardashvili is, I think, 23 years of age. He's a young keeper. He's doing really well for Valencia past few years, and he's a lot of talk around about him, and Spurs were linked with him before we signed Vicario. But I think for a goalkeeper like that, you don't want to come and sit on the bench and just hope that Vicario gets injured for you to get your opportunity. I know, again, we're going to be in Champions League or Europe at least next season. But I still don't see the need to be rotating a goalkeeper like that. I think a number 2 keeper has to be someone who's either older or just knows where he's at in his career kind of thing, and is prepared to be playing second fiddle. I don't think someone like Mamardashvili, I don't know if it's right for his career to come to Tottenham right now. It wouldn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And when you're looking at the options that we could potentially get, I mean, I can't really think of any. I mean, there's probably a possibility that Fraser Forster gets a contract for another year.
Maybe get Hugo back.
Hugo.
Getting back from LA.
Because you remember like teams like Man City and stuff and Chelsea over the years have signed like, you know, over the hill keepers, let's say, Scott Carson, Rob Green, all these kind of keepers. I mean, they're kind of, I can't think of anyone else like on that kind of.
I'm trying to think of like an old keeper who can still like play out from the back. Maybe I don't know if Claudio Bravo's still playing, something like that. He's probably too old. I don't know. Ramsdale, yeah, get Ramsdale and he can play second fiddle, yeah.
And last but not least, let's talk about Brian Hill. Estadio Deportivo saying that Brian Hill believes Ange Postecoglou does not trust him and is not a fan of his. The winger was previously determined to remain at Tottenham and rejected approaches from Brighton, Feyenoord and Fiorentina. He now wants to return to a club in La Liga on a permanent basis. The Spanish star wants to play more minutes and therefore hoping for a move back to his homeland in the upcoming summer transfer window. I mean, we saw him have a successful loan spell last season at Sevilla, I think it was, winning the Europa League and playing quite a key role in it as well, to be fair, alongside Eric Lamela. Since his return to Tottenham, it's just the old familiar story, isn't it? Not much game time. When he does get the game time, it's very few and far between, not many minutes, and just not playing well, essentially. I mean, he got that start in the Man City away game, then he got taken off at half-time, I think it was.
Villa at home he started.
Villa at home as well. He got taken off quite early that game as well. I mean, he just hasn't really pulled up any trees. We know the technical ability that he does have, but I guess it's just not enough and he needs to be showing more, and probably a move back to Spain is probably right for all parties.
Yeah, I kind of feel a bit bad for him, the fact in January he had opportunities to leave, but he decided to stay and fight for his place. But
and we brought in Werner.
Yeah, at the end of the day, look, but he decided to stay, but after he knew that Werner was here. So I feel bad, but as well, he kind of knew the situation, so he was the one who decided to stay. I think Ange has given him a few opportunities. Yes, it's not been lots, but it's probably more than what Conte gave him, which isn't saying much. Like, he's had a few starts, like and he has come on in quite a few games. So I don't think he can. He can probably argue, like, for a player of his age and the kind of position that he's in, yes, you probably need a run of games to get into your rhythm. That's when you can purely judge him. But he has had like quite a few sub appearances. He has had a handful of starts probably. So, and he hasn't really done much. So. And then you've got so many players. We've got so many players in the front line. We can't just be giving opportunities. You know, Johnson's been recently contributing regularly. Werner's been contributing since he's come in. Kulusevski's obviously a great player. And obviously you're never going to drop Son. Richarlison's been scoring goals for fun. So it's hard to fit him in really at the moment. And, you know, I read this, when I read that report, I was like, oh, where's he on loan now again? Oh no, he's still here. I was like, I completely forgot he was actually still at Spurs. I thought he was out on loan somewhere, but I think it's best for his career that he leaves. He should have, in hindsight, maybe he probably should have gone in January. I think we probably said he should have gone, but I think he was at the time when he decided to stay. I think he was getting minutes here and there, and like was getting a few opportunities, and so he probably felt like I might as well stay and fight for my place. I'm enjoying like the dressing room. I've got friends here. I might as well stay. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know, was he even on the bench on the weekend? I can't remember, but he's just not getting any game time.
I think he was on the bench, but even so, like, you see him come on after the game, just congratulating all the players, and I felt sorry for him for so many years now, because I've said it a number of times, like, he's always the last thought of this football club. I mean, to say he hasn't been treated right maybe is a bit too harsh, but whenever we let him go, it's always like the last minute of the last second of the transfer window, and we never really seem to have a plan for him, and that's essentially where he's been at since joining Tottenham. And we need to kind of either let him go or give him a chance, and I think letting him go is probably the most favourable option right now.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, he's played under quite a few managers and none of them have really fancied him. So
he probably had his best moments under Conte, you know, in that Champions League. He played a couple of good games coming on and providing a difference in that Frankfurt game, winning that penalty, in that Palace away game when we won 4-0, I think he had a really good game that day, and then he got loaned out straight after that. So whenever, even when he has made positive steps, it's always been a step backwards after that.
I think it's just time for him to go. I think everyone can agree on that.
Yeah. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.